In this video, I'm going to show you what discs to use, how to throw them, how to make smooth approaches, and how to make the putt. First off, you don't need these discs. It's bad for you. You can just have the one disc like this, a neutral mid-range, or a starter pack for disc golf with 3 discs. You have different discs with different shapes that does different things. You see how it's sharp? It's great for throwing far and fast. This one, kind of blunt. It's called a mid-range, and it's like the Swiss Army knife. You can do everything with this. And finally, the putter. Really blunt, goes really straight and perfect for making putts in chains. I'm gonna show you how to use all of these. So you got the discs from grandma, opened your presents, and you're holding in them thinking, how am I gonna grip them? And there's a couple of different ones. Here's the most used one, and the one I prefer, the modified fan grip. Think of that you're holding a hot dog. Here in the crack, you put the disc down with the thumb, and you start folding in the fingers. So you want these two to actually be firm around the rim, and these two to just nicely place there. Another version is the power grip, where you just kind of shove all your fingers.
Shove them!
Like a really tight grip, and you can get a lot of power, but you're probably gonna throw it 90 degrees in the wrong direction. Go with a modified fan grip. Another important grip, especially when it comes to putters, and we're gonna come to that, back to that later. But the grip, do like you did with the modified fan grip, but up with your index finger, and that will increase your accuracy, which is very good when you want to make putts. When you. First off, let's ditch the driver and go with the mid-range. If you release the disc like this, then it wants to move in that direction.
It's called a hyzer.
And if the disc is that way, it moves to the right, it's an anhyzer. I'll show you more about hyzer and anhyzer later. And what you want to do is to release it super straight, and it's going to fly straight. The other thing, except this way, is this way. A common beginner mistake is to release the disc this way. And then it just goes up in the air, loses all force, and it just wants to drop to the left. So I'm going to show you how to throw straight. Everything straight. So the common way is that you just, there's the target, and you walk across the target and you throw. But you don't want to be this way. You want to be pointing with your hip, like 90 degrees to the target. So you got a lot of space to move. And it's a lot easier if you stand still. First off, the grip we talked about. Try to keep it leveled with your arm. 2 most common mistakes why you always throw so high is that you're holding the disc like this. And then you can think that you're pouring tea. So whoop, you're pouring tea, and keep it down there so it's straight. Number 2 is where you begin your throw. And if you begin too low and want to get back up, it's really hard to compensate and get it straight. So it's really important to always throw in the exact same line all the time. A good place to throw, it's like between your tits and your tummy. When you're doing your shot, be comfortable down here and loose and flexible, and start to rotate your body until it's straight here, and then let the arm do the work.
We're keeping this really basic. I know when I started, I really wanted to do the run-up instead of standstill. Here's the video for that. You can check that out. It's a full video on the run-up, if you want to run up.
Before we talk about approaches and putting, we need some rules. Here's a mini marker, and if you want to play like a real event, and if you want to throw this disc, you got to mark it right in line and in front of the disc. And if you're playing with a group of people, the first one to throw after all the tee shots is the one furthest from the basket. So now it's my turn, and I have a little square here. It's 20 centimeters by 30 centimeters, where I have to have one of my foots. And same procedure with approach shots. Now we just want like less power. So I'm gonna do the standstill and the same kind of motion, but I don't have to reach back all of this. And for this, I can actually look at the basket. And when possible, when you're looking at there's a bunch of trees, just look for the biggest gap and aim for that one. This disc probably wants to fade a bit to the left now when I'm not throwing full power. So I'm gonna aim to that tree to the right of the basket and let it slightly fade to the left. So you might end up here for your second shot, right beside the Koenigsegg factory. And you want to do an approach, but this time you want to do a hyzer, where the disc actually goes to the left all the time. And how do you do that then? As usual, you take your normal stance, but instead of going straight and keeping it straight, you want to keep it like this all the time. And what I do is that I tilt my full forearm like this and try to hold it like that all the way. A little bit with your arm and a little bit with your back. And then you'll be able to release it at a hyzer angle for this shot where we want the disc to go to the left, I have to aim pretty far to the right for it to actually land under the basket. And I'm gonna trust the disc to do the work. Suppose you landed with your second disc here at the same spot by the Koenigsegg factory, but now you want to do an anhyzer. You want the disc to move to the right all the time. And here you just do kind of the opposite. Instead of lowering your arm goes up and you try to sweep the motion like this, so you actually release it like that. And you can do the same thing with your back. Instead of tilting it forward, you try to tilt it slightly backwards. I pick a spot there to the left and trust the disc to move to the right. Unfortunately, the hyzer approach didn't go straight in the basket like the other one. Then it's time for putting. I'll pick my putter, take my grip, which is this fan grip, where my index finger over there. And for a putting stance, I don't want to stand like this when I'm trying to get the full power. Here I don't need the full power, I need the accuracy. And that's better to actually aim straight towards the basket. I want to have one leg back here to actually kick and give some extra strength to the putt. And there's two main putting motions, and you can pick which one feels better for you. The first one we'll call the spin putt, and it's where you use your full arm to get a lot of power and a lot of spin, and just go straight for the basket. This one gets a lot of power, but of course, if you miss the basket with a lot of power, you're gonna have a long comeback putt.
And be sad all the time.
And the other one is where you hold this part of the arm pretty fixated, like you're throwing a rock to the basket. But you still need to get some spin on the disc, and that's what your fingers and your wrist is for. Release the disc with some spin and give it the power that it needs. Aim straight. I think putting is really fun because the technique really don't matter that much. It's not as fixated as the throwing technique, where you need to do exactly like this to get the power. Here you can actually experiment and find your own style that really works. If you make all the putts with your technique, then it's a great technique. We know that the most common thing that beginners want to is to throw further. And there's a bunch of things you can do. You can do a run-up like this to get extra speed, get a lot of reach back and get momentum from your legs, and have all the timing right so you get that plus 100 meters, 300 feet more power. Yeah. Well, one of the easiest things is to pick your right disc.
I'm gonna try to demonstrate this, picking the wrong disc and then the right disc. Same throw, same everything, but this is the wrong disc. Same throw, better disc, distance.
And the last tip, most important one, just practice. Watch some tutorial videos, get that technique going and just practice. And then you'll be able to throw like really, really far.
If you have any questions about disc golf, ask us in the comments and we will answer them.